The mistletoe margarita, the Scrooge driver, the North Pole punch. The holidays call for cocktails, so get everything you'll need for them delivered with Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. So
what's it gonna be?
Classics like Bullet Bourbon, Don Julio Reposado, or Kettle One, or maybe something new. Find it all on Drizzly, where you can get beer, wine, and spirits delivered for any holiday festivity. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
Good morning and welcome back to WSHIT's Heaven at 11. Each Sunday morning we bring you the good word of the Lord, live from our local church, the Baptist of the Holy Jokester. And now let's drop in as Jim Stanridge gives his sermon this morning.
Hey, don't you lay your head back. I'm important. I'm somebody. Now, you might do your English teacher that way, but I'm not teaching English. I'm teaching eternal life here. I love you. You know I love you. Have I convinced you I love you? Yeah. You better nod your head yes. All right. Come on, put it out there. All right. You stay awake and you listen to me. You say, well, he may never come back. Well, he ain't here now. And where have you been, Mr. Underwood? And I noticed on the calendar I'm supposed to marry y'all. What makes you think I'd marry you? You're one of the sorriest church members I have. You're not worth 15 cents. And you want me to marry you to her? And you want to marry him? And he don't even know where he belongs? And you don't even know where you belong? Now, let me tell y'all, everybody here, how much I love these kids. Do you know I love you, sir? Stand up, big boy. Do you know I love you? All right. Give me a little love.
Absolutely inspirational. We'll take this quick commercial break and be back with WSHIT's Heaven at 11.
In early 2020, the world shut down. Stores, restaurants, schools, and whole communities shut their doors in an effort to protect human life. As the world quickly changed, one man went on Facebook to get a degree in internet epidemiology. Bryan, along with his lab assistant Hoadley, are curing coronavirus by commenting on fake news and reposting recipes of secret virus cures from a friend of a friend who works high up in government. Join Bryan and Hoadley as they discuss the world and life during this forced interruption. Learning, laughing, and loving in this real-life commercial break. On this episode of The Commercial Break.
I've seen some of these people who do some of this voice work, and it's like...
They don't look like Rachel.
They're exactly where they need to be.
No.
So I'm willing to put on the mask even though I look like a fucking idiot. I look uglier than I already am. It's an inconvenience, and I don't like it, but I'm going to do it. I also don't like to stop at stop signs, but I do it, you little punk.
Tom Petty was very against the Trump campaign using his song. I won't back down.
He was, and he's dead. So you know he's really against it.
The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Yeah, I'm proud of her, and I'm excited to see what she does with the podcast, and good for her. So
yes,
yeah,
congrats,
but you know, we have superstar guests like Rachel McGrath on our podcast, which was super fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope that people go and watch her cooking show because it actually is pretty fucking good.
Oh my God!
Did you watch?
Yes. Oh yeah. She's been showing me some behind the scenes stuff for a while.
Some raw footage.
I've been encouraging.
Raw.
She's so good. She's like meant for the camera. So
she is meant for the camera. She's
is.
tailor-made for the camera. Her voice, I've seen some of these people who do some of this voice work, and it's like they're exactly where they need to be. No. They're exactly where they need to be, which is right. It's like me, right behind the microphone, no video. Period, end of sentence. You know what I got a whiff of right before we came on air, or earlier today? I got a whiff of a cigarette. And I don't know where it came from. Maybe someone in my neighborhood was smoking a cigarette or something, and it just kind of wafted over in my general direction. Mm-hmm. And I literally went fucking crazy. I was like, oh my God, Smoking sounds like a really good thing I should pick up during the pandemic. Smoking. Let's pick that back up.
Yes.
I'm okay with the fact that I quit smoking a long time ago, but for some reason, every once in a blue moon, if Jupiter is in retraction or whatever they call it, and Pisces is in the southern sky, and someone is smoking a cigarette, it hits me in a way that I don't think I'll ever get over. I think I'll always have that slightest bit urge to pick up a pack of cigarettes and smoke it. Doesn't that sound nice to just pick up a pack of cigarettes and smoke it right now during the pandemic?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I smoked for a long time, but yeah, it's kind of, I'm kind of done with it, but every once in a while, somebody's smoking and I do kind of have a nostalgic reaction.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that this fucking disease was a goddamn respiratory disease, then I think that I might have picked up smoking.
Think about that too.
Yeah. That, and I have children, and it's just not a good example.
Right.
For them. I mean, they'll learn someday. Someday they're going to pick up a cigarette and smoke it, I just know, but I don't want that to be at 2 years old. I want to push it back to like 5 or 6 when I started smoking cigarettes.
Right.
TCBpodcast.com is where you go to listen to all the episodes. You can read show notes. That's on the show blog. So go to TCB blog, which is linked to the website, and that's where you can get all the show notes and links to all of our interviews and past episodes and all that stuff. You'll find all of that detailed stuff in the show notes. We have a great company that does that for us. Drop us an email and we will respond, or we may respond, but we do that in one show at a time every couple of months. So don't feel like we're ignoring you. We'll get to that eventually. You can follow us on social media at The Commercial Break on IG. We have a Facebook page. You go ahead and like that, and please subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're so inclined, and if you feel like you're having a really good day, and if you just love to hear our silky smooth voices every Wednesday morning, leave a review, because it just strokes our ego in a way you can't imagine. Krissy and I talk about it for an entire week. Every one interview that you leave is like 2 weeks of conversation for Krissy and I. So please leave a review so that we have something to talk about.
Yeah, our
and if you'd like to.
Voices.
Oh, good morning, and welcome to WSHIT's Morning Cup of Joe with Jim Akers and Dandy Danderson.
I love Dandy Danderson.
Dandy Danderson. That guy is just like, he's a cute one, isn't he?
He is. He's a dandy.
He's a dandy. Isn't that what they used to say? The guys that were effeminate, they'd call him a dandy?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's a derogatory term, so please don't say how I'm being homophobic, because I'm not homophobic.
No, that's actually his name.
Yeah, his name is Dandy Danderson. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't make it up. It just happens to be his name. 2 more things. If you want to be on the show, you can go to the Contact Us page on the website. Drop us your information and your phone number. And in a future episode, we'll take some listener calls, and we'll let you know when that is, and we'll give you the information on how to call in. Also, if you want to email us with your email address and say, I want to be on the newsletter, we'll send a newsletter once a month. That's it. We don't sell your information. We won't inundate you. We promise only to email you once a month, because quite frankly, that's how lazy I am. I'll just email you once a month and you'll get a free, I say a free, everything's free. It's like I'm charging for the podcast. You get a free hour of content.
But wait.
There's more. You get a free newsletter and you get a free podcast every Wednesday.
Call now.
I had my mom over to the house over the fucking weekend. I don't know why I said fucking weekend. I don't know why I felt the need to say fucking weekend. They say that people who curse are much more intelligent than people who don't curse. So I must be on a roll, because I just cuss like a sailor. And
that's damn right.
I didn't know where. Fuck yeah. Shit yeah. Shit yeah. Before I get to the story about my mom, I was watching this video right before we came on air. The audio's not interesting, or I would play it, but this guy in Orlando, the county has ruled that I guess made a rule that you must wear masks when you're out in public and not eating and around other people within 6 feet of people.
Good.
Amen. Listen, I'm done with this mask bullshit. Wear a fucking mask.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the big deal is. It's not about you getting sick. It's about you not spreading the disease to other people. I'm reading the New York Times had this interesting article about thousands of scientists and doctors around the world who gathered data 6 months into this pandemic now. And one thing that's clear is your chances of getting it from a grocery store or putting your hand on a doorknob that someone else put their hand that they were sick, your chances of getting it that way are very small. The only way that the big chances of you getting it, the majority of people are getting it because they are inhaling it in a viral load that is large. The only way, or the best way that anybody knows how to stop that viral load from actually, aerosolizing itself outside of the body is by wearing a mask. And it's not about you inhaling the disease. We all know that. Okay, it's, the mask isn't going to protect you all that well if you're around somebody who has a disease. It's about stopping the viral load coming out of you. Can we all stop fucking being babies about this and just wear the fucking mask?
It's really weird, Brian. I know I was watching, just for observation purposes, the Trump rally on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah,
and again, we don't have to get all political, but I just wanted to, for observation purposes, watch it to see exactly how many people turned out and who were these people going there without masks on. And I'm just watching it, and as I'm sitting there looking at these people, I'm like, this is for your health. This is for your health. This is not
they even
like
handed out
to repress you or stop you from being free. This is actually for your health and for everyone else's health. Like, it's a health thing. It's non-denominational. We're not. There's no religion, politics, anything. This is a health hazard. So I'm just confused.
Amen. Preach on, sister.
I'm confused.
Listen, here's the thing. Okay. We'll get into the Trump thing now, and we'll go back to my mom later. We'll get into the Trump thing now because I was going to review this. Listen, they even handed out masks as people were walking into the auditorium, and people dropped the masks. I would say that 1 out of every 10 people was wearing a mask.
Yep.
And I applaud those 1 out of 10 people because I know that the pressure to not wear a mask must have been incredible, because for some fucking reason, this is all of a sudden a political thing. Like, you don't believe in freedom if you wear a mask. I cannot smoke a cigarette at a fucking Chuck E. Cheese. You know why? It's bad for my health. Yep. It's against the rules. I cannot blow a stop sign. I have to stay within the lanes on the fucking highway. I cannot murder somebody. There are plenty of things that I cannot do, but I still live in a free country. I have to pay my taxes and all the other good jazz. This is yet one small, minor inconvenience for a temporary period of time. It has nothing to do with my fucking freedom. It has to do with my life. I want to live. And so do you, regardless of what you say. I'm willing to die for the pandemic if it means that the blah, 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 and the bullshit in the economy. Okay, I agree with you now. I'm on your side about this one. We cannot close down the economy for an indefinite amount of time.
Sure.
But if we're going to get back to work and things are going to work in a manner in which everybody feels relatively safe, one of the things that we have to do is protect each other from dumbassery. And dumbassery is not wearing a fucking mask. Get over it. Get over yourself. Stop with the political bullshit. Put on a mask and just leave it alone. Stop talking about it. You're making it into a political statement when it has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with whether or not we die by drowning in our own fucking spit.
Yeah.
And I, for one, don't want to do it. Don't want my mom to do it. Don't want my dad to do it. And I certainly don't want my newborn baby to do it. So I'm willing to put on the mask even though I look like a fucking idiot. I look uglier than I already am. It's an inconvenience and I don't like it, but I'm going to do it. I also don't like to stop at stop signs, but I do it, you little punk.
Yeah, no, I've got a couple fashionable masks.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, they make them in good. You want to wear your Make America Great Again mask, or whatever you want to do. God bless you.
If that's what you want to do to politicize this, then do it. Just wear that Make America Great Again mask.
Yeah, or wear a mask that says I hate wearing this fucking mask.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Make it punk
funny.
rock. Be like, fuck masks. Yeah. Wear a mask that says fuck masks.
Yeah.
And make it political. Here's the crazy thing about this Trump rally. And I don't want to get too political on this show because I know there's a lot of people that listen to us internationally. They may or may not be all that interested in what happens to politics in America. And there's plenty of other people you can go to if you want political opinions, people that are much smarter than me or Krissy on this whole matter. So I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but I will say this, like them or leave them, Donald Trump is really good at getting a bunch of people to show up and having a fucking party in the form of a rally. That's why I think partly why he got elected is because he can really put on a show. And I will admit that freely. I freely admit that he puts on a show. I don't particularly care for the type of show that he puts on, but he did it, and he did it with cunning and professionalism. It was like he just took politics and these rallies to a whole new level back in 2016. People got really excited. And for the most part, he filled arenas across the country, and he would do it like night after night after night. The guy just went. He's 82 years old, and he just kept going like a fucking Energizer bunny. So for 6 months now, or at least 5 months, he has been sidelined by the quarantine, by his own quarantine, by his own people. They've said, don't go out there, don't do this. So his for the people that don't live in this country, his big return to the rallies, the big like filling an arena like a rock star rally, was this last Saturday in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I won't even get into why that's just a stupid fucking thing to do, but yeah, 20,000 seat arena in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as well as a huge area, like a huge street where they expected up to 500,000 people were going to descend upon Oklahoma, because that's what they were telling everybody. They were saying that the Trump campaign was like, listen, we've gotten 1 million ticket requests for this 20,000 seat arena. So we're going to put a big fucking stage outside, and we're going to have 2 rallies. We're going to have one outside for everybody that can't get into the arena. You know, it'll be a short little presentation, and then we'll go inside and we'll do the real deal, and we'll broadcast it around the world, and all the news channels will cover it, and blah, blah, blah. And then Saturday arrives. And by the way, people did line up days and days before, like, you know, by Monday, this happened on Saturday. By Monday, people are like lining up, you know,
camping
all
out
around the arena.
Yep.
Having fun, you know, doing their thing, not wearing masks.
Not wearing masks.
Just a general party atmosphere, right?
Party.
Wearing their AK-47s. So
let's risk dying. Woo!
Yeah. Woo. But hey, listen, I don't want to argue this point too much, because there are a lot of protesters out there that are getting awful close to each other too. And while I think it's much better that you're out there protesting, in other words, I think the cause, the means justify the ends as far as the protests are concerned. I still get concerned about everyone being in a big, you know, where they're all crowded together. But you do see a lot of those protesters are wearing masks. They're doing no social distancing, but they are wearing masks.
They are.
Going to a Trump rally, you can watch that on TV. Like Donald could get up on TV and he could do that. He doesn't need to do that. So Donald shows up on Saturday, and he's supposed to have this whole street is supposed to be cordoned off. 100,000 people supposed to be outside. They couldn't get into the arena. He's going to have this big festival-like show. 26 people showed up on this street. So 2 hours before the rally even starts, it's clear that at least on the outside, no one has shown up. Like the 100,000 people that they expected did not materialize in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And inside the arena, less than 7,000 people out of the 20,000 people that could fit in there showed up. And there is some conversation about how maybe even a good chunk of those people are actually just a part of the Trump campaign anyway, in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to get into all the bullshit, right? I don't know if it's true or it's not true that people are paid or not paid to go there or whatever.
Yep.
But the reality is that Trump took a dump right there on his, like, Trump had a really shitty rally, especially in during his standards. It was zero, basically a zero. He got an F, a big fat flying F. And then he went on for 2 hours and talked about crazy talk. I don't even know what the guy was talking about. I did watch some of it.
I did too.
But here's what's crazy, Hoadley. Do you know why so few people showed up? So many seats were empty. Have you heard about this TikTok shit?
I do, and that's because I've got a 15 and an 18-year-old stepdaughter. I have two.
Were they doing this?
Oh, yeah. They had told me about this the week before and said, you know, listen, and this is just kind of in passing one night as we're all making dinner together, and they said, hey, there's this thing going around and everybody's going to request Trump, you know, rally tickets and then he'll be left with nobody coming. And I was like, that's pretty genius. I didn't know if it would work. It seems to have worked.
I think it really worked. Yeah. I mean, I find it funny that in a place like Tulsa, Oklahoma, kind of a Republican stronghold, that so very few people showed up. I actually think that this TikTok thing really got there. So if you don't know what we're talking about a week and a half or whenever, 2 weeks before when they opened up the ticket request, which is essentially you could text in or you could go online and you can just request tickets. There's very little vetting. You just basically got to give them a name, information, phone number, and then and then they send you the ticket via whatever. I don't know. They send it to you via email, and there you go. You scan it when you walk in. It's free. They're not paying for it. So a couple weeks before, when they opened up the ticket request, older woman on TikTok, and I wish I could give her credit or say her name, but I don't remember what it was. An older woman made a video that spread to about 700 other people. And she said, hey, you're on TikTok. You're a bunch of youngsters. You want to get involved politically. Stop this bullshit, right? Donald Trump is showing up. Yeah, from home. You can do this. She gave them the idea that all these people on TikTok, all these youngsters on TikTok should basically request tickets and then not show up. So a no-show protest is what she called it. And within a couple of hours, there were like hundreds of thousands of people that were spreading this like wildfire. And they would make the video, it would go up for a few seconds, and then they would delete it so that it couldn't be tracked, so that no one person was getting tracked. So essentially, they were just sharing it and then deleting it really quick, and it was spreading like wildflower. Like a wildflower.
Growing like wildflowers. Speaking of wildflowers,
in the
Tom
wind.
Petty was very against the Trump campaign using his song, I Won't Back Down.
He was, and he's dead. So you know he's really against it.
Right.
You know you're against something when you reach up from the grave and go, stop. Hey, Donald, stop using my shit.
I don't approve.
I won't back down.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings. How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
So this worked. And by some accounts, 10,000 of the 13,000 tickets that didn't get used were because these kids were asking for them. But the thing is that they also requested in huge numbers these tickets. So because of that, the Trump campaign felt like they had really booked this place out. So the guys who were in charge of this, the heads must have rolled when they got back onto Air Force One after the show, because Donald does not like to be embarrassed.
No.
And man, was he. He could not lie about this. This was clear, even from the Fox camera angle, that many of these seats were open. But here's what's weird, and I'll tell you. I went on Craigslist the day before the rally, and I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I went to the Oklahoma Craigslist, and I looked up Donald Trump rally tickets because I was interested to see if anyone was selling them, and if they were, for how much.
Yeah.
I saw a posting, and the posting said, I have 25 VIP tickets behind the stage where the camera angle is. No, don't troll me. No Democrats. I don't want any of that bullshit. I am high up in the organization. I have these. They're real. They're free. All you got to do is agree to come down and pick them up. This was like hours before this rally was supposed to start. Somebody was giving out what they called VIP tickets, which meant behind the stage. And there was an opportunity to meet the campaign manager or whatever. He would come by and say hello. You would be sitting next to the bigwigs. Mike Pence would be there. Whatever. So whatever was going on, I think that maybe few people, maybe it wasn't, maybe even if TikTok had nothing to do with this, right, that the campaign rally would not have been filled. But here's what's interesting too. And here's where I get interested. Hoadley, pay attention.
I'm at rapt attention.
TikTok, you have no choice.
Right.
I have you every Monday for an hour. Here you are. TikTok apparently has a bunch of fans on there for this K-pop group. Do you know about this?
Yes, I do.
The K-poppers?
I know about the K-poppers.
Yeah,
yep.
okay. K-pop, for any of those who don't know, K-pop stands for Korean pop music. And apparently these K-pop people who are pumping out these, it's like a Ford Motor Company just stamping out cars, only they're young musicians that they stamp out, like the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or whatever, but it's the Korean version of this.
Yes.
And they are wildly popular, all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
They get like 1 billion views on their YouTube channels for one video. But this happens repeatedly. And there's like one company, JYPE or something, that's putting out all of these little bands that they put together, but they're not bands. They're like singing, they singing groups that are good looking. And, they have the rock star one and the bad one and the good one and the pretty one. And, just like it's stereotypical boy band bullshit.
On for thousands of years.
It's the old formula. That's right. Who was that creepy dude who was putting them together back in the 90s who put together NSYNC? Do you remember that guy?
Oh,
he was like that fat roly-poly dude that also happened to be jacking them off in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was not paying his taxes, stealing money from investors, and then he was also, giving a head to some of the Backstreet Boys or something.
Super shady.
Yeah, he was a fucking creep, dude. Mm-hmm. So on Saturday, as I learn of the stans, the K-pop stans, that they call them stans. I guess they're stans, fans of this particular group. What's the one big K-pop group, the boy band?
I don't know that far. I know about K-pop, but I don't know the actual names.
Okay, I'm sorry. We don't have a ton of young listeners, but I'm sorry for anybody that's listening that I don't know this information. But you got to understand, I'm about 28 years outside of the demographic of K-pop. But I did do this. I went and started doing some research because I was super interested in K-pop and in this phenomenon. And what I found is there's a boy version of this, or a couple boy versions of this. There's a couple girl versions of this. And one of the girl versions is called Twice. Ooh. And I got to be honest. I'm kind of into Twice. Mm-hmm. Twice is like these 20-something Korean girls that made it through some gauntlet of a television show since they're groomed at since they're age 16, and then they go through this television show. It's kind of like American Idol meets The Real World meets whatever. What is it? The television show on CBS, The Big House or The House or My House or whatever, where they're all living. Big Brother, right? So it's like the musical version of Big Brother, and they all go through this. And then if they win or if they get chosen, then they get to be in this K-pop band, and this particular one is called Twice. And YouTube has a documentary series on Twice about how they all are coming up through the ranks. And I just got to say something, Hoadley. I'm 100% in love with Twice.
Nice.
Because
Twice as nice.
It's twice as nice, yes. But they really can sing, and they do have some very cute personalities in there. And it's fun how they backbite each other, and one's exhausted and the other one's tired, but they all pull together in the end and they give each other hugs, and they just get through it because
that's what it's about.
They have twice as much love. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that I do think this K-pop thing is pretty fucking cute.
Yeah.
I'm
for it.
I gotta say that.
I'm totally for it.
Yeah, I'm for it 100%. I am not anti-K-pop in any way. And I do have to say that I'll be very glad when my daughter comes into this world, so it'll seem a little less creepy that I'm watching YouTube videos of a K-pop band called Twice.
It'll still be creepy, Brian, but let's not get ourselves.
And here's the creepiest part: is that one version is in English, like in English subtitles, but then they have another one that has no fucking subtitles whatsoever. And I couldn't find the last episode of the show in English, so I just watched it in Korean, feeling like I knew them well enough now that I would be able to interpret what was going on just by their body language.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I was able to interpret exactly what's going on in the conclusion of Twice, for Road to Fame or whatever the episode, whatever the show was called, because I had interpreted the body language.
That's right.
I was one with Twice.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So there you go.
Branching
Congratulations to the. Yeah, but I'm going to have a young daughter pretty soon, and she's going to be into all this shit. My son is already singing every one of the Disney Junior hits. It's day after day. He never stops. If he gets a free moment, Here's what it sounds like in my house. Da 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 da. Dee dee. And Dee means Disney. That's what it means. So it means Disney. And then here's the beginning of one of the songs is da 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 da. It's time to fly with Tots, right? It's a show called Tots, right? So this is it. This is his sentence. This is what he puts together now. Da 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 da. Yes, boy. Man, how can I help you? Dee. Yes, I know. There's Dee. Dee. Okay, what do you want to do? Dee. Tots. Tots. So he just repeats it over and over again, right? I might be sitting there working, clanking away on my computer. Da da, Dee, tots.
That's cute.
And he won't stop. It's so cute. Oh my God. I should probably get a video and then we play it on the audio on air. It is cute, but when it happens 300 to 400 times a day, and
yeah,
a puppy's cute, until you have to clean up its shit and it barks all the time, right? So, his
not talking about Blue, are you?
No, I'm not talking about Blue. But by the way, if anybody wants a dog, like in the Netherlands, but he's where I can't hear her bark. I worked at a McDonald's and the fryers would back in the 90s when I was a kid, right? I think I said this when I was 14 or 15, and the fryers would make this noise every time the fries would be ready. And we worked at a really busy McDonald's, especially over the weekend. You'd never not have fries.
Oh, yeah. They're my favorite thing from McDonald's.
Trap.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. The fries at McDonald's.
But they just beat everything. I've tried
to
go gourmet, but just nothing that really beats the McDonald's fries.
Yeah, all these chefs try and make their fries taste as good or tasty. There's no better thing on earth that has to do with a potato than a McDonald's French fry. I just got to say that. But anyway, so these things, they're so good. So they beep and they beep and they beep and they beep. And then you'd go home at night and you'd have dreams about the beeps, right? So this dog has been barking for like 7.5 years now. And I can't get the barking out of my head. Like I'll go on a run and the dog will be barking in my head. And we're talking about my dog Blue, who is a Yorkie, who is just the cutest little thing. I mean, her face is just so cute.
She is.
Yeah, she's just a little doll, but she will not shut the fuck up for 1 second. She barks at everything. I move to go to the bathroom. She barks. I close the door. She barks. I open the door. She barks. I take a step to the right. She barks. A step to the left. She barks. And she doesn't do this with my wife. She doesn't do it with my wife at all. And she loves my son. She's really good with my son. But every time I think about anything, if I think, she barks. And so that's obnoxious. Totally obnoxious. So anyway, wrapping it back around, I want to say congratulations to the K-pop fans, who I know were a big part of this stunt. And I think that this is something we should look out for coming up in the 2020 political election cycle, because I do think that Donald Trump is going to have to find a way. Here's the thing that I really found interesting. Why is Donald Trump beating the youngsters at their own game? You know, he was so successful in 2016 at making the internet his bitch and basically just riling people up to a point that they went to the polls and they voted him into office in what seemed a most unlikely candidacy. Mm-hmm. Why has Donald Trump, an 87-year-old man, or however old he is, an 87-year-old man,
I think he's in his 70s,
beating?
Yeah. But let's put him.
Is he in his 70s?
Yeah, let's put him in his 80s, though.
Oh, I thought he was in his 80s. Wow, he looks horrible for his 70s. I mean, that guy just looks. He just looks.
The presidency sick. Always ages people.
That's true. I agree. Yeah, and he's not the worst looking president we've ever had. So, I mean, we've had some pretty ugly presidents, and Donald's. You know, they all get pudgy and ugly, except for Obama. He stayed really skinny.
No, he just got cooler. He just got cooler as the years went on.
Man, I
love him.
I get older and they stay the same.
Whenever I see him, I'm like, I miss you. I miss you.
I know. I don't. It's not even that I miss Obama specifically. I didn't agree with everything Obama had to say or do either. It's that I miss some semblance of sanity.
Yeah.
Now, I know that people who are on the extreme right were going absolutely bonkers because of Obama, and maybe things didn't seem normal to them. And I know people on the extreme left just loved the guy to death. I am not of either of those two parties, and so I just really want to vote for who I think is the best candidate, or who I think will do the best job. Yep. And so I didn't love everything Obama was about, but I did like his presidency, and I felt like we were headed in the right direction in a lot of ways while he was in office. And I do miss that. I just miss the feeling, the sensation that wasn't waking up in the morning to the next big clusterfuck that was coming our way, because Donald is just all over the place. I say to Donald, like, Donald, go back to that wonderful hotel you have down there in Doral. Go back there, be with your beautiful wife, go on Stern, rate women, do whatever it is you were doing before the presidency. Just go back and do that. You don't want to do this. It's too much fucking stress, man.
I know.
It's too much stress. You don't have to worry about people are going to show up and not show up. And
honestly, I mean, I was thinking of the irony of the whole thing because, and again, I know probably we're getting off on a political rant, but there's just so much going on right now that I feel like it's topical. But I was looking at his crowd in the audience at the rally, and I thought, how ironic, because, to me, growing up, the Donald's been around for a while, and he's always been this, suave New York, upper crust real estate guy that was, said what he meant and meant what he said and whatever. And he had money to do it and whatever. But he wasn't, like, when I looked out at the audience for his rally, I'm like, these people.
That's not his audience.
Those are not his people. He would not be hanging with these people. They wouldn't. They wouldn't be at his hotel. People, they seem like idiots for not wearing masks and going to this thing. But I mean, they just were not his type of people throughout his whole career that I've watched in the news.
You're 100% right about that. You bring up a fantastic point, which is Donald Trump. If you, middle America, my Southern friends, my middle American friends, my kind of middle of the road, good old boy friends, if you think for 1 second that Donald Trump is your guy, he might be your guy, but you're not his guy. Nope. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't care about you one bit. You would not be allowed at his golf club.
It costs,
you would not be allowed to sit at dinner.
$100 to get into his golf club now.
A year.
And he's really relating to the people as he's sitting there talking about his leather shoes that he was slipping on as he was going down the ramp. I'm like, what?
Flying in.
I'm sure all those people can really relate to all his Italian leather-made shoes.
I know. Do you know how much my arm hurt when I was putting it up and down like this? I had 600 West Point candidates, graduates that I had to salute.
2 at a time.
It's like, Donald, those motherfuckers are going to, 2 at a time. So that means 300 times, Donald, not 600 times. First of all, just doing some simple math. Don't get me wrong. But here's the other thing, you twad, is that these people are about to go, most of them, about to go put their life on the line for this country, and you can't be bothered to salute them one time in their entire life. They are the best of the best, that they are going to lead our men and women into bloody, nasty, crazy wars that we don't even know about yet. They're going to do that in the future, and you can't be bothered, or it hurts your arm too much to lift it 600 times. I've never served in the military, so I'm not going to get all pious here. But but I do firmly stand behind our soldiers because I think they're great men and women. Even if the wars aren't great, I believe that the men and women who put on those uniforms are doing it for all the right reasons, 99.999% of the time. And if they said, hey, Bryan, host of the commercial break, would you do us a favor and go and be the honorary, uppity up at the West Point graduate ceremony? Because I see that happening anytime soon. Would you please salute each one of these graduates? Fuck yeah, I would. And I wouldn't, there would be no complaints coming out of my mouth. I complain about a lot of shit, but this is not one of the things I would complain about. Yep. He spent 45 minutes telling a story about how much his arm hurt and how bad, how much trouble he had lifting his arm 600 times so that he could make an excuse as to why he couldn't lift a cup of water to his face. Now, I don't know, and I'm not going to sit here on this show and pretend to know what's wrong or right with Donald Trump's health. But, buddy, you sounding so fucking petty, it just puts you way out of touch with the people that you're trying to serve. And I honestly hope that some of the people that support him that were watching that they see right through that they go, hey, this is not my guy. Now, I'm not saying Joe Biden is either. Don't get me wrong. I saw a commercial on YouTube for Joe Biden. I see a commercial on YouTube for Joe Biden every time I get on my YouTube app on my phone. And I don't know why I'm getting served this ad every time, but I'm getting, and here's Joe Biden. Hi, I'm Joe Biden. 2-4 there while, can you donate $5? That's exactly what he says. He literally fumbles the first 15 words of the ad. And I'm like, if you're going to spend $1 billion on a YouTube ad like this, serving it to me every time, don't you think you could just go back and do it the right way? I mean, Joe seems a little foggy to me. So don't think that I'm getting all, crazy about Joe Biden either. But Donald, spending 45 minutes to alienate yourself from your own crowd seems ridiculous. Yep. The truth is, you did kind of slouch down. For anybody that doesn't know, he was at West Point and he was doing the ceremony for the West Point graduates. West Point graduates will be the leaders of our future armed services, right? That's like a military school. And it's very prestigious here in the United States. So he went and he oversaw the graduation, and he was complaining on Saturday night at the rally at Tulsa that he had to salute. That is literally raising your arm up to your forehead, that he had to salute 600 of these graduates. He complained for 45 minutes about this. Mm-hmm. It must have gone on for fucking ever. At the end of it, he had to walk down a ramp.
Yeah, he made kind of fun of his general, too.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole fucking thing.
It was awful. I was just like, what?
It was awful. So...
like, way to unite the if you're country thinking about during a time of fire and looting and racial injustice.
He doesn't know how to do it.
Sexual, the Me Too movement has gone on during his presidency. All of this. I mean, and it's awful. He gets on there and talks about his freaking walking down the ramp and being able to drink a glass of water. Then he drank a glass of water and threw it into the audience. I was like, what?
I know. As if.
Right.
Guys, honey.
Good for you.
So if you're a supporter of Trump, certainly we welcome you here.
No, I don't.
You probably are not a supporter of this show. That's true, because my satire can be biting toward Trump, but I'm just calling it like I see it. It's just common sense as far as I'm concerned. If you're a supporter of Trump and you can't see through this bullshit, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. So whatever. We'll move on to greener pastures. I had my mom over this weekend.
Speaking of greener pastures, Speaking
of greener pastures.
Your last name is Green, so let's go to your pasture.
So I had my mom over this weekend, and she comes over to see the little boy, or that's what she says. Come over to see the little boy, and then we'll order some pizza. We've been doing this every week since she's gotten out of quarantine, because she lives in a retirement home and they were really locked down pretty seriously over there. And luckily they didn't have any cases of COVID over there, which we're all grateful for, right? But she's still pretty much locked down. She can just get out of the house and come over here. So she comes over, and I got to say this. I've learned something about being a parent, and I don't know if you feel this as a step parent, but I know this as being a parent. And the children that you're a stepmom to are much older, right? So you may not get this as much. But it seems like everybody who's ever had a child becomes the third parent of my fucking child every time that they walk into the door.
That's probably
and I'm honestly
me with my nephews who are 2 and 4.
Do you think so?
They love it. Yeah,
yeah, well, listen, Aunt Krissy, I mean, I think there's an important role to play with aunts and uncles. And I'm one of those guys who believes that it takes a village to raise a child. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't, if my child's, putting his tongue in the electrical socket.
I think parents do it. I think grandparents maybe do it more to the parents of the.
Oh my God, drives me fucking
try to tell how to raise them.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings. How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
Whatever kind of night you're having, start it off right with Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. Whether you're mixing up a bullet bourbon old-fashioned for a cozy night in, or a Kettle One Bloody Mary bar for a birthday brunch, you can get the perfect beer, wine, and spirits for any occasion delivered with Drizzly. So,
what's it gonna be?
Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com to choose your drinks today. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
Here's my mom. Ready? This is the conversation.
Hello. Hey, Bryan.
Hi, Bryan. Hi. You know what? I just saw Matthias running down the hallway, and you know what? I think he's got one of those, what do you call them? The hook legs? I think he's got hook leg.
And I'm like, what? The fuck is hook leg?
I don't know. That's what they used to call it when I was a kid. It's hook leg. It's when your leg is ingrown like this. It's to the left. And then you have to take him to the hospital.
And I'm like, Mom, my kid doesn't have a hook leg.
I think so.
And I'm like, Mom, why? What is hook leg?
I don't know. I just saw it, and I think he's just running kind of funny. You might want to take him to the hospital.
I'm not going to take him to the fucking hospital, Mom, over this.
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
Now
He just has hook leg.
Yeah.
Great. Now you planted that seed.
That's right. Every time that my mom comes over, when she leaves, my son has 6 more diseases that he didn't have before she showed up in the door. And it's in my head rolling around like, oh, shit.
Maybe.
Is my kid going to die? Maybe. It might be possible. Here's the other one. Ready? Watch this.
You know what? It's Matthias's birthday coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's good. Yeah, great.
Irving wants to get him something. Maybe he can give him a couple $100 so he can go to a speech therapist.
Oh my God.
So he can learn how to talk correctly.
I'm like, did you just say you want my son to go to a speech therapist?
I mean, if you want to. I watched this television show, and the young lady, they speak 2 different languages in the house, and she can't talk correctly because of that.
And I'm like, oh my God, Mom.
Oh my gosh. Is she getting him a gift card
my kid
for a speech therapist?
Yeah, to a speech therapist? Like,
no Amazon for him.
He's fucking 2. What words is he possibly missing in his vocabulary? He says this, that, please, thank you, and he says them in a couple different languages. I don't understand what's wrong.
I wish.
It's amazing. But Hoadley, I tell you what, and then the whole dinner time, I'm just sitting there Googling how many words my fucking child should be saying and in what order. I'm like getting all nervous.
I know. It plants the seed.
Yeah, it's insane. First of all, it felt rude. Listen, I love my mother, but you know we have a loving relationship, but I call it like I see it, and I just don't care for every time my mom comes over, my son has a new disease that's got to be fixed. She is not making me feel better about my parenting skills. She's making me feel awful.
I think that's a common thing, Bryan. I've certainly heard that from others, including my mom, about my grandmother when I was younger. You know, it's just, yeah, I think it's the...
She was... Yeah, your mom, I guess. And I've heard this from friends before, too.
You know, about what my grandmother would be saying.
I know. I try and give her a break.
Very much so. And I think, my mom was kind of like, well, why didn't she do that with me? Maybe. I don't know. There's so many different intricate, complex relationships.
Complex familial psychology going on in there.
That's why I love the aunt position.
Aunt position is good.
Aunt position just rolls.
It's like you're like the Switzerland. Yeah, you're like the Switzerland of family members.
I love it.
Here's the other one.
Hi, Bryan.
Here she calls me the other day, right?
Bryan.
Yes, Mom.
I just remembered that the other day I saw a rash on Matthias's foot. I think it might be gout.
Like gout. Mom, do you think my son is drinking rum at 2 years old? Why the fuck would he have gout?
I don't know. I just heard it on Judge Judy. Maybe he has
Dr.
gout.
Phil or one of them.
Dr. Phil. That's the worst. I wish my mom would turn off fucking Dr. Phil. Turn off Dr. Phil. If you're of
a certain age, you're watching Dr. Phil and getting your information from him. Or who's the other one with the pointy ears? The
the doctor. Yeah, Dr. Oz. Oh God, he's the worst. He'll tell you like crystals will solve, crystals will cure your cancer. It's like, dude, you are a quack. Yeah, he's the worst. Dr. Oz is, and the thing about Dr. Oz is, listen, I have watched Dr. Phil over the years.
Sure.
He's at times, at least at first, when his show first came on, he seemed like a very pragmatic and commonsensical kind of guy. He just kind of cut through the bullshit and would just tell you.
Oprah endorsed him.
Oprah, yeah. And so for a minute there, I was like, that guy's kind of
herself from him.
Except for that check she keeps getting from his television show. Yeah. Oprah's in that Oprah money, and that's a whole different universe. And Dr. Phil, by the way, Dr. Phil has like the number 5 most popular podcast in the world. God. I had no idea. It's called like Phil Talks or Bullshit Phil or something like that. Full of Phil. I don't know what it's called, but it's crazy. But Dr. Phil, at first I was like, okay, this guy's got some commonsensical things to say. And it just turned into trash TV instantaneously. It seems like as soon as Jerry Springer got off air, all of the guests went over to the Dr. Phil show. And Dr. Phil was all too happy to take them on. And now I can't watch it. First of all, I have to say this. So my mom watches this show 24 hours a day. If Dr. Phil or Judge Judy is on, my mom is watching it. Like, it doesn't matter what channel she's going to find it. She's got it on rotation. She finds this Dr. Phil or Judge Judy, and she just, the world revolves around these two human beings. And I kind of feel for my mom a little bit, because there's only so much of that bullshit that you can listen to before your brain just starts to rot out. Dr. Phil has a commercial every 3 minutes on his television show. I was over at her house one day watching. Every 3 minutes, there is a commercial. You can't even get through a full segment without another commercial, another commercial, another commercial. They must be making a fucking killing on that guy's show. How many commercials they stuff in there. He has sold out. I have to say that, Dr. Phil, you have sold out. I would love. Dr. Phil was on Joe Rogan, and I thought it was a fascinating interview because it just let me know how full of fucking shit Dr. Phil really is. He's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Do you watch 90 Day Fiancé?
I don't. I know you've brought that up to me a couple times, and I have not watched it. Do I need to put this on my rotation of 100,000?
Yeah, I think so. Jeff's going to kill me.
100,000 other shows.
Yeah, I know.
That have been watched.
I know. I give you something to watch every 15 seconds.
At this point,
I can't do that.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe that's because part of my job has to do with, dealing with home building, and so for me, it's like going.
You have your own street. Don't forget.
I have my own street and stoplight. I don't know if you remember that, but I do have my own stoplight. My street. It's my street. So 90 Day Fiancé is this television show that comes on the Learning Channel, TLC, which I don't know what learning we're doing anymore on that channel, but they still have
learning
the name.
A long time ago.
Long time ago.
On that.
When they figured out that learning wasn't paying the bills, they changed their tune real quick. But about 8 or 9, probably about 7 years ago, TLC started running this little program. It was maybe like 5 episodes called 90 Day Fiancé. And in case you aren't familiar, because you don't live here in the United States, you can come into the United States on what's called an engagement visa or a fiancé visa, which basically means that you propose to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, they become your fiancé, and then they are allowed to come into the United States for 90 days in order to see if you get married. And if you get married, you're here legally, then you get a green card. And if you don't get married, then the person has to go back to their country. And that's it.
They've made a show of this. Oh, Lord. Oh, my Lord.
They've made a television show of this, and man, is it fucking entertaining. I'll tell you what, it's a pure entertainment, Hoadley. You have to watch this television show because there are lots of people, I'm sure, that get the engagement visa every year. I don't know how many of them are given. Maybe let's call it 100,000. I'm sure that 950,000 of those people are perfectly level-headed, fine human beings. But they find the 12 every year that are completely off their rocker and it's just a shit show from the beginning. And they tape every minute of it. TLC is making a career out of identifying mentally ill people and putting them on television. But I mean, not all of them are mentally ill. I actually like some of them. I think some of them are interesting. And the reason why it was interesting to my, at the time, girlfriend and I, who's now my wife, Astrid, is because we took a similar path. We didn't get an engagement visa. We decided to get married while she was visiting one time. And that's how she's here in the country legally. But it's interesting because it hits close to home.
Sure.
Hoadley, I would tell you that all of this is just gold. So there's this guy on 90 Day Fiancé. His name is, David, I think is his name. He's an older gentleman. He's probably in his late 50s. He obviously has been watching too much Star Trek for his entire life and has just missed the boat on dating, sex, or any of that other stuff. So David gets on one of these Russian websites. And this is how the Russian website goes. Ready?
He's the getter.
I get on the
getter of the fiancé.
He's the getter of the fiancé. Okay. Correct. He lives here. She lives in Russia.
Got it.
He 7 years ago, opens up gets incommunicado with a woman in Russia via a website. This is how the website works. You join the website, you pay $500 to be a part of the website. You then get access to the profiles of the women that are on the website living in Russia or Ukraine or wherever. Most of them young, most of them beautiful. So you can imagine that most of the men are the exact opposite of whatever young and beautiful is. Right?
Yes. Correct.
So this guy, David,
I hope we're not
who, in my opinion, would
any
be
of our fans out there who are on Russian dating websites.
Listen, God bless you if you're on a Russian dating website. Just don't do it like this, because this is obviously a complete scam. But okay, so David then has to pay a fee for every word that he communicates to this woman on this MySpace-like website, and then he has to pay for every word she in return sends back to him. They are not communicating outside the website. She refuses to give him a phone number or a legitimate address or a text message or anything. She only wants to communicate inside of the website. Smart girl, that's right, because she probably owns the fucking website and she's making $600 every time they communicate.
I was just thinking we're in the wrong business, Brian.
Hoadley, I don't even understand how.
Gotta learn Russian.
I mean, this guy also, he's well-to-do. So he has actually made a career for himself. He is a guy who has actually taken the brains inside of his head and used them and applied them to make himself some money over time. Now, I'm saying everybody who makes money is smart, because that's not true. But I am saying that it would appear that the guy has a head on his shoulders. But he just cannot be convinced by anybody for any reason, under any circumstances, that this girl is taking him for a ride when he has to pay $1 basically for every word that he says on this website. And that's the only way that they communicate. He goes over there to Russia, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 7 times he goes over to Russia. And 6 of those times, she says she's going to meet him and never does.
Playing hard to get.
The
old
Cha-ching,
playing hard to get.
Playing hard to get. I like it. And that's how David looks at it. He's like, she's sassy. I'm coming back. Yeah. One time her brother died. The next time there's, a snowstorm and wherever she lives in, Gravadovich or whatever. And then the last time
she just needed money.
That's right. When she showed up, she actually needed money. She wanted to get some of those presents. The time before he actually met her, the reason why she couldn't meet him is because her nephew had a hockey game that she had to go to. So David travels 16 hours on a plane to go to Russia to meet this young lady, and she can't show up because her nephew has a hockey game. What's that?
I said with a film crew. He didn't just do it. He's with a film crew. Is this correct?
He's with the film crew. That's correct. But he still doesn't get it. He still shows up the 7th time. She actually shows up the 7th time. And when she shows up, he gives her not only an engagement ring, but he gives her a brand new iPhone 11. And he says to her over dinner, and by the way, she won't kiss him. She won't touch him. She looks disgusted by the man, right? Because she is disgusted by the man. She's just here to get money, right? So he hands her the cell phone and he lovingly says, this is so you and I. And let me give you an example of what happens when he gets close to her.
Dude, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop.
Totally.
Don't do that.
He's like, his lips start smacking. He's like, he looks like an alligator ready to eat a dead chicken. He is absolutely, I don't know, he's sexually assaulting her just by being near her. It's just gross. It's fucking disgusting. He gives her the cell phone and he said, this is so we can communicate clearly. Oh. And he puts a translation service on the phone. Well, after he leaves Russia, she says she can no longer work the phone because her nails are too long. She'd like to go back to the website. She'd like to go back to the website and start communicating. This show is brilliant. It's brilliant. It's like, I don't know what you do, TLC. I don't know what magic you put on this television show, but I just cannot get enough of it. I mean, it's lighthearted entertainment at best.
Oh, I have to watch it now. And now Jeff is actually going to kill me when I start watching this.
He's going to actually start killing me. He's going to be like, you got to stop doing this stupid fucking podcast. You're taking up all my television time. You're taking up Monday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday mornings. And you have 2 listeners, 2.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Let me give a shout out to a couple of countries that have been listening over the last week. That includes the United Federation of Russia. We actually have a few listeners in Russia, and I welcome you on board. And no, I'm not going to pay you to talk to you. So just,
no. Keep listening.
There's probably some women out there.
But keep listening.
Yeah, keep listening. Also, Uruguay. We have some listeners in Uruguay. Welcome aboard. And then there is a very special country that I want to say hello to. And if you are truly listening to this program, then I know you've gotten a hold of it somehow, some way outside of the norm. And I absolutely welcome you aboard. And that is the country of Iraq.
Yes, we're all inclusive.
We have some listeners in Iraq.
We are all inclusive. I love it.
Absolutely.
We're international.
Well, I know that the situation in Iraq is, yeah, and I don't know who's listening or why they're listening, but I know the situation in Iraq can be hairy. So if you're listening to this particular episode, I don't know if it's multiple people or one person or whatever. I can't tell that. All I can tell is I can see that someone is listening from a particular country. It has to do with the statistics back on our hosting site. But if you're in Iraq and you are listening, write us, get on the contact page and write us a letter. We'd love to talk to you. I'd love to get someone from Iraq.
Absolutely.
And I think we have to figure out what daily life is like.
I think we have a special German listener, too. I would like to send a shout out to, if I may. A fan of the show that wrote to us.
Please do.
A fan
Please
that
do.
wrote to us and really loved me laughing at Brian's stupid jokes.
What did he call you?
Hoodley.
No, what was it?
Okay, by that.
It was not Hoodley. It was Hody. Hody.
It's an honest mistake. Honest mistake. I love it.
It's an honest mistake. Put an L in there. You're getting close. Hoodley. We welcome all of our international listeners. TCBpodcast.com is where you go to listen to all the episodes, read the show notes, find out more about us. Drop us an email, and we will respond on a special episode in the future. Follow us on social media at The Commercial Break on IG. You can find us on Facebook. Go ahead and like our page, join our page. Please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes, and leave us a review. It's like a podcast hug. Make sure you go to the Contact Us page if you want to be a part of the newsletter. You can just drop us a line with your email and say, I want to be a part of the newsletter, and every month we'll give you an extra hour of content that we do not air on the regular broadcast channels. Hoadley, I love you.
I love you, Brian Green.
I do like spending this time with you. This is fun.
It is
I do have to say this.
I really love it. I'm so glad you started this and invited me to be your cohort along the way.
Couldn't be more happy that you're here with us. And I look forward to many, many, many more episodes. So from Krissy and I to all of you in the international, all over the world, in every country that has been listening, I say this in Estonian to you. I say cheers in Estonian to you. Cheers in Estonian is cheers. So there you go.
I will say salute.
Salud. Bye. Talk to you soon. See you next week.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings. How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
I love hosting New Year's Eve.
Sorry.
That said, it can get a little chaotic. Thankfully, I made sure the party was stocked with Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. Drizzly lets you compare prices on a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits, then get them delivered right to your door. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
Email us at thecommercialb@gmail.com. Find us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Commercial Break. New episodes drop every Wednesday. We can be found on Spotify, iHeartMedia, Apple, Google, and all major podcast providers. The Commercial Break is a great middleweight production. Written and produced by Brian Green. Co-hosted by Krissy Hoadley.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
Breast milk science. It's a thing. And it's our thing. We're ByHeart. We're an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most super food on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We make our formula in our own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania, using a small batch manufacturing process that works to preserve the integrity of our ingredients. We ran the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in 25 years, and clinically proved benefits like easier digestion, less gas, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. We were the first infant formula company to earn the Clean Label Project Purity Award. And while we've put a lot into ByHeart, there's a long list of things you won't see on our ingredient list, like no corn syrup, no maltodextrin, no GMO ingredients, no soy, no palm oil. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.